In Mark 2, Matthew 9, and Luke 5, the question arose around why Jesus' disciples didn't fast, like John's disciples and the Pharisees. Jesus provided a multi-part answer. First, he says, how can the guests of the bridegroom fast while he is with them? They cannot, so long as they have him with them. But the time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, and on that day they will fast. Obviously, Jesus is the metaphorical bridegroom in this particular parable. And the fact that he is actually in his disciples' presence, teaching them directly about the kingdom of heaven, is an event worth celebrating. He also knows that his time is short, so they better get it while the getting is good. Matthew's version says, how can the guests of the bridegroom mourn while he is with them? For anyone who has ever fasted, it is a pretty mournful activity. To be able to see food when you are hungry and not be able to eat it due to some traditional ritual is not a celebratory experience. Neither is the joy of Christ in antiquated rituals and dogmas that no longer serve the revolution of spirit. When Jesus said, no one sews a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch will pull away from the garment, making the tear worse. Neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, the wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. So they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved. At the time, Jesus was probably blowing his disciples' minds with all sorts of things they'd never heard in the synagogue before. According to the Gospels, whenever he was teaching, he was amazing people with his insights and understanding as he was communicating with them about the fullness of the kingdom of heaven, demonstrating what their religion was pointing toward. Jesus was bringing new wine to old wineskins. These days, as followers of Christ are drawn into a deeper relationship with spirit than the Roman Empire allowed, there is an entire movement of deconstructionism as people discard the old wineskins of religious dogma and antiquated doctrines in order to experience a refreshed, living faith beyond traditional beliefs. While many are taking the route of deconstructionism directly into all-out atheism, there are many still who are seeking and experiencing a new spiritual adventure and a closer walk with Christ. In the two exhaustive volumes he wrote, The Second Coming of Christ, Paramahansa Yogananda offers some indelible insights into how the mind of a yogi interprets the messages and ministry of Jesus. He paraphrases Jesus as saying, it would be foolish for my disciples to bottle up their divine wisdom of new revelations of truth in an old atmosphere of mechanical rules, of popular superstitions and dogmatic codes of conduct. As new wine should be kept in new bottles, so my disciples have been given a new consciousness, a new atmosphere of spiritual living within which to preserve their new realizations. In their God-intoxication, they are already experiencing that for which rules were made. Jesus was teaching his disciples about true freedom, something that religion knows little about. Although religion often offers freedom, the Latin etymology of religare means to bind again. So although religion may offer you a sense of freedom in being part of something bigger than yourself, it is quick to bind you to doctrines and dogmas that often stunt your spiritual growth and leave you enslaved to man-made mores and traditions. While some enjoy the stability and security of their slavery, that is not what Jesus came to teach. Luke added one more sentence to this scenario when Jesus followed up his point by saying, and no one, after drinking old wine, wants the new, for they say the old is better. Although the Spirit of Christ has still allowed the understanding of the divine to open in people's awareness since the Council of Nicea wrote the Nicene Creed 1701 years ago, many are more comfortable accepting those limitations of understanding rather than opening up to the actual kingdom of heaven. In the same way, many Christians today are much more comfortable sipping on the old wine of dogma and biblical inerrancy than the new wine of listening for the still small voice of spirit in the silence of meditation. I believe that the Spirit of Christ is still calling people toward greater understanding and that there is much new wine to be offered. But a great many Christian is drinking from old wineskins. I don't think people will have the capacity to know the many dimensions of God if they are still fully convinced that the Council of Nicea was as far as theology can go. I don't think people will be likely to hear the true Word of God if they are spending their energy trying to prove that the Bible is it.